Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And my friends, we have a guest returning back onto the show this morning, my friends. And I am really excited to have her back. Remember, each and every guest here on the show is a, ordinary person doing extraordinary things. Somebody who's gone through our course or courses and is implementing, learned, launched, and is leading in their business out there on the big world wide web. And it's a beautiful thing to see. With that being said, please help me welcome to the Wake Up Legendary stage, Jen. Welcome back.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Where are you calling in from?
Southern California.
Southern. Well, thank you for getting up so bright and early with us here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. All of you who are on the West Coast, thanks for getting up and joining. I know it can be it's a thing to get out of bed at the crack of dawn and show up live to Wake Up Legendary. So good for you. Good for you. But dadgummit, that's what a job requires you to do most of the time. So get up for your own business. That's why we call it Wake Up Legendary.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And last time I was calling in from the East Coast. So since I've spoken to you, I have since moved west. It was one of my goals.
Okay.
So time change is a little different, but happy to be here. And I'm a morning person anyway. So
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
You're also full-time in your business, from what I understand. So congratulations on that. That seems like a major milestone.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think that this was something that I didn't necessarily have the luxury of choosing. How I came across digital marketing was the result of losing my job. I was with a company for over 11 years, and I was incredibly comfortable in what you could say was the best way possible. I made a cushy salary. I had a consistent paycheck, and it's funny because it was so overshadowed by the fact of how stressed I was and how much I was just drained of life, and just my relationships really suffered. So it's funny because I really didn't have the opportunity to choose. It's kind of like the digital marketing life chose me. And I really embraced it when it came along. And I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, it was definitely one of those things that, like, it is a choice in how you respond to all the things in life that are thrown at you. And instead of, reacting, I chose to say, okay, like, this is something that I didn't plan for, but this is a really cool way of life. And I've got that entrepreneurial spirit in me. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So why not jump in? So I think it was just like that permission. It was the world's way, or the universe's way, of like saying to me, like, hey, go ahead. You know what? You got this. And play in here for a while and see if you like it. And truly I have. So to be able to make it a full-time thing is great. And then to also be able to help others in the process is like one of the greatest gifts.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I was remembering back as you were talking to my full-time transition to online marketing, and it was, a gap between jobs with my dad and I. We, would occasionally, probably more times than I want to admit, have no work on the calendar, like going from job to job, right? Like construct, like bathroom to bathroom, or, and we were just in a little lull in our work. And I was just like, damn, man, I think I'm just gonna like clock out for the last time. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
there's really no clocking out. Okay. I mean, I worked for my father. Um, but you know, I made that kind of mental commitment
Yeah.
and it was everything. You know, it was everything. I never looked back. You know, I never picked up another tool on a paid job since then. And that, God,
Mhm.
I hate to admit it, but have I picked up a tool since? No, I sure don't like to. I'll be honest with that. I'm not the guy who's like, give me a DIY project. I can't wait to come and put together a cabinet or something. It's like, oh my gosh,
Past
you
life.
know, man, if I never have to pick up another tool.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wonder for those of you who are listening, what your exit strategy is, or if you have one in place. You have to be also, I think, aware of the universe's or God's, however
Mhm.
you choose to see things, signs of when to get off the highway. You know, what are the exits along the way that are opportunities, or what are the crisis or struggles that you can turn into your strengths,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I can relate to that a lot too, because it's funny, even before it's amazing. Before I lost my job, it's amazing. I think of just the things that were so blatantly obvious to everyone else around me but me, um, that just made me it was almost like those were the reasons why I had gotten so far from myself and who I was as a person, because I was so tied to this job and what society is telling me that I have to do. And for me, it's like it wasn't until I got out on the other side and I was forced out in a way,
Yeah.
that the quality of life and just who I was as a person was able to actually start to like be shown again. And I think like that was the thing. Like you talk about exit, like what is your exit strategy or what are the signs? And I think for me it was, other people saw the signs. Other people saw how stressed I was. The fact that I would literally be tied to my phone when I was not at work, thinking like, when's the ball going to drop and I have to put out the next fire.
Mm.
So I think like that was where for me, the choice to move forward in something that was different than the the cycle that I the unhappy cycle that I was in prior to that, working for someone else, it was really a no-brainer. I mean, just everything felt better. Was it easier? No. Like it's like choose your heart, right? But for
Mm.
me, it was like I was deciding, I was making the choice to say like, I know that every single day I need to show up for a job, but I know that's not the kind of life for me and that's not the quality of life I want. So this is what I'm choosing instead. And it's amazing how much ease I've created in my life and fun, um, and creativity just that I've gotten back from being able to do that. So yeah, the signs were there, but other people saw them. I didn't see them.
Well, thank God for them.
Yeah.
Thank God for other people seeing them. Sometimes we are the last ones to see both chaos but also growth in our life. And so let's talk a little bit about your growth. What has been, this is your second time on the show here.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
What's this journey been like? A lot of times I ask people, what they've learned about themselves. What is this journey? Where have you grown? Where has this situation and you going full time in this business forced you to grow?
Yeah, I feel as though I will always be a student. However, when I first started, what I felt was the fear that I didn't know enough, or I was going to be just a student and only able to help myself
Mm.
at first. And so, I mean, it's interesting. Like I launched my business, I launched my page, and I started this January 12th of this year. So it's been about 6 or 7 months. And my background's been in sales and marketing, but let me tell you, like doing it in the digital world's not easy. Not easy at all. And the thing that is fun about it is that I have continually had to learn and shift and pivot and change. So I think like that's the thing is that when I started, I thought I was going to be a student of one. And now it's like, okay, there are things people around me, my friends, my family are seeing what I'm doing. And they're like, I've got this idea. Or like, how can I take what I'm doing and I'm really passionate about and I want to share it? Can you help me? And so it's become a natural evolution. And you know, I was listening to a training the other day, and this person was saying like, you know, you just need to be 10% ahead of everyone else. And it was that was like, you know what, I've got this, and I have learned a lot, and the things that I have learned, I can actually teach people tangible things, the steps to do exactly what I've done on my end to create something for themselves that they're really passionate about.
Mm.
So for me, yeah, being a student that's what I've learned. It's not about me. It's so much bigger than me. And I thought I was going to come into this like, oh, it's the wealth niche. I'm going to, you know, that's going to be what I'm going to put my stamp in the digital space. And it's really allowed me to tap into my passion for teaching and training and coaching other people. And it's really starting to flourish to the point where it's like, I actually need to look at what I'm doing going forward, whether it's, you know, coaching, consulting, creating a membership. Like those are the things that I am now looking, just because I was willing to take a chance and learn something. It's just expanded exponentially. And it's really cool. It's really, really cool to feel and to be able to impact others.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And you become that go-to person in your circle. I mean, people start to, before you know it, because you are, whether it be 10% or 100% ahead of other people, they begin to view you as an authority before you begin to view you as an authority. You actually, most of the time, will get your permission to become an authority because other people will give it to you before you give it to yourself. It's a wild thing. I mean, in a lot of times it will be, you know, people in your circle, or, I mean, I have friends and they come to, or people in my kind of social circles in real life who will come to me with, you know, real, like, I just launched a business. I'd love to, you know, to run a couple of things by you. I mean, you'll really, it's, and that never happens unless you actually launch in the people will be watching who you don't know are watching.
Mm-hmm.
And this includes your audience. Your audience is watching before they're liking, commenting, and buying stuff. Especially if you're new to the internet, they want to see if you're gonna disappear after a week.
Yeah.
They want to, and when you do, you give them all the you become just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But when you stick around and you stay and you remain consistent, that's the unthinkable. It's not the big results. It's not living in a mansion and, you know, showing off your Lamborghinis. It's just literally being consistent. That's the unthinkable to people. And they're just like, wow, this person's an authority. Why? Have they even listened to any of your content? Have they even watched any of your videos? Maybe not, but just the fact, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. I mean, people will just see you see you showing up consistently, and just that consistency of you showing up will appear, and they will interpret that as authority, knows what they're talking about. And they will come to you and they will buy something when they're, you know, fed up or when they're ready, oftentimes without even listening. Now, there's the people who will listen to every single video that you ever put out. And sometimes those people will never buy a single thing.
Yeah.
You can't prejudge people. I think one of the
Absolutely.
things that this game has taught me is not to prejudge.
Mm,
That I don't know what people want. I need to test. I need to put out lots of different variations.
absolutely.
What has this game taught you about testing and letting the market
Mhm.
determine what is hot and what is not versus asking somebody what's going to work before it's even posted?
Oh, absolutely. It's I mean, I think that it's not what I necessarily know. It's like, what are the questions that what am I asking my audience, or what are the issues and the problems that they're having, that then where I can meet them. So like, where am I meeting them? And I think like that's one of the most important things. Like, I can do all of the market research. I can do so much, but there is so much value in really being there and meeting somebody exactly where they're at, and exactly what you're saying. Like, you are, who are you to judge, or you're not going to assume anything right off the bat. It's like, you're going to let your audience tell you exactly what they need, and everybody will be at a different point. So being able to meet people where they're at, and then finding solutions that help solve those problems, that's what it is about. What I think about, consistency. And what I've also learned too is I have to learn how to almost be more fluid or more malleable, in my own journey as a business owner, so then I can help other people, whether the market's changing or there is something going on in the landscape that creates a huge shift. Like, the one thing that's going to remain constant and consistent is myself and the value that I bring to other people. So I need to be like, ear to the ground, or ear to the internet, knowing exactly, what's changing, and then how can I pivot my business and my support for other people to then match that. And I think like that's what I've learned for like the long game. Otherwise, I'm going to burn myself out. And to think that like I know exactly what's going to happen 6 months from now, 6 years from now, like, all I can do is take it day by day, stay really, really consistent with the value that I offer, and ask my audience what they need.
Hmm. How do you deal with what I call comparisonitis? The
Oh,
watching others and I'm way better than them. Oh, I'm not even remotely as good as them. Oh, I don't even know if I should post this. Well, they're already posting it. What's even the what why even bother? What comes up for you in your internal self-talk when you get
yeah.
into comparisonitis? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I comparisonitis, it never goes away, at least what I can tell is my own journey. It hasn't. The blinders, putting on your blinders, and really focusing in on you and only you, or me, is the practice that I deal with every single day. And it's interesting because what I thought of when I first started posting was, I had conversations in my mind, that stingy little voice in my mind saying like, this has to be perfect, or this has to look a certain way because I need it to look like everybody else. And what I learned was that it's who I am and what I uniquely bring that sets me apart. And it's really, really easy every single second of this journey to get distracted by what other people are doing. And
Mm,
what I have to continue to tell myself is that every second that I spend comparing myself to other people is every second that I'm wasting in not being able to show up as myself authentically for the people that want to learn and the people that want to grow. So yeah, it is a comparisonitis is a real thing. And if I speak personally from where I'm at today, as I start to develop products to bring to my audience, that is where I have to put on the blinders more than ever, because there are a slew of products that are out there that I'm like, oh, this is high stakes now. I am not just I'm just not doing this to post a reel. Like, this is like an actual product that I am bringing to market and something that I want to put my heart and soul into. And if I try to pull in other people's tactics, their strategies, it's going to dilute the authenticity that I can bring in just being myself. Um, and it could impact other people, and it could actually impact their journey. So it's a big responsibility. So it
Yeah.
doesn't go away.
And you know what the biggest responsibility that we have is to us, it's
Mhm.
it's to build our own self-esteem, not let ourselves down, and to just, the most important person you're ever going to impress is yourself.
Mhm.
And I really mean that. It's okay to be impressed by yourself. It's okay to be like, "Oh, that was good." Like, I still got it. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's okay. It's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay to be happy. It's
Mhm.
okay, just like it's okay to be happy. That's like such a great life lesson. It's okay to be happy. It's
Yeah.
also okay to be impressed by yourself. It's
Mhm.
okay to be like, I'm good, you know? Like, I'm good. I can do this. I got this, right?
Yeah.
And more so than just rooting yourself on and being your biggest cheerleader. When you do something that's awesome, really legitimately giving yourself credit for it, we tend to be, our biggest critics,
Yeah.
and we never want to give ourselves credit for anything, and that's why I'm saying this, that it's okay to say you got this, or that was good, because that's such a hard thing to do sometimes,
Yeah.
is to just give yourself credit, and just to say, you know what, that was pretty good. Like,
Mhm.
I still got it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like
Oh, of
like
course.
I've always had it. I've always had it. Jen, you got it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you get anywhere in life, you know?
You
You have to believe in yourself. You have to.
You
And
do.
you gotta figure out what that looks like for you, and how you get to a spot that you can really feel comfortable and confident in yourself. And this is something that I think about all the time when when someone will come to me and they're like, I only have X amount of views, or like, I only have this many followers. And something that it was a practice that I really, really honed in on when I first started, and it's never left me. And I still actually practice it. I'm very, very much an analytical person. So what I would always look at in my output, so essentially, like, whatever it is that I'm doing, I would always look at what are the positive aspects of what I'm doing. And even if it's the smallest piece of growth, it has to do, like, and what I used for this example was when I was starting out on social media and I was building my page. Instead of saying, like, I don't have the following that I have, it's like, oh my God, I got another lead, or oh my God, I have another follower. And they just DM me and they said they were really excited to find my page. It's like, those are the things that I am focusing on, because those are the things that are going to continue to carry me. Because as being a business owner and being an entrepreneur, no matter what it is, you have to take the good with the bad. And you have to find opportunities to find the good to keep pushing you forward. And that is what I feel has also kept me in the game, because I mean, I'm a normal human being. Like, I
Mhm.
have imposter syndrome. Like, I was telling you now, like, I'm going to be creating new products for my audience. And it's like, like, that is something, it's a real fear of mine, or an anxiety. But it's also an imposter syndrome, because, like, the thing is like, I put in the work to know what I'm doing. I just now need to implement. And it's that fear of that unknown of, like, what's going to happen. That is that stingy little voice in the back of my head that could ultimately keep me from putting out products and services, and that can help other people.
Yeah.
So it's really learning how to really help yourself and celebrate yourself every single second of your journey, even if it's the tiniest little thing. Truly, truly celebrate who you are. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. Just
If
give
anybody
yourself.
else said the things that we say to ourselves, we'd
Oh,
slap them, punch
right.
them, DDT them.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, seriously, if anybody imagine, a coworker or a boss in a work situation saying to you the things that you say to yourself,
No.
you would,
Yeah.
you would lose your it.
Immediately get out.
Oh my God. I
Just
mean,
go.
or somebody on the streets or a family member. I mean, you would get right up from that dinner and you would haul butt. I
Yeah.
mean, you would just not put up with it or take it. But yet here we are. We say these things to ourselves, and it's wild. It's
Mhm.
wild. It's wild, the things that the tone, and the way in which we criticize ourselves. And a lot of times that comes from, Grant, one of our amazing senior epic advisors here, said the best advice to succeed online: stop watching other marketers' content. LOL. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, it almost is a gift. You're going to come on, and it's almost like you're going to do that no matter what we tell you at first. You're going to watch it. I mean, that's a hard that's a
Yeah.
you're going to do that at first.
I did it.
You're going to
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to watch people's content. You probably watch people's
I still
content.
do.
That's how you found us, watching content on the internet. But at a certain point, you're going to realize, my hope for all of you
Mhm.
is that watching other people is not really going to do a damn thing for you. Watching other people, you know enough to be dangerous.
Mhm.
You know enough to
Mhm.
post. You know enough to get started. You need to focus on what you're doing and developing your own message in your own voice, and start tuning out. If you're going to do research for new ideas, new content ideas, you give yourself a block of time, and you become militant about
Mhm.
not getting into a doom scroll where you are, comparing yourself. One of the best things that I ever did for my doom scrolling was, there's certain things that I'm interested in, like,
Mhm.
let's just say cars and watches, for example. So I've got let's just say, and this is true for me, but and this is something that I've done too. I got a specific Instagram page that is for nothing but that, right?
Mhm.
To where I've followed accounts that I specifically am interested in with content that I want to see.
Yep.
And um and when I want to go on there and scroll for things that I really want to look at,
Yep.
that's where I go. Now you could create an entirely different Instagram account, and you could, have certain marketing accounts that you want to follow for inspiration or ideas. The cool thing is you can toggle between those accounts on your Instagram profile, which I love to be able to do, because I can really manage the kind of content that I want to take in and see for that day. It's not
Mhm.
just all coming to me on one profile. I'm being flooded with a bunch of different things. I need to be cautious and careful of my mind and my brain about what I'm allowing into it. And I need to, you wouldn't go to an employee if they worked for you and just throw 1,000 ideas at them. They
Right.
would get nothing done. They would be overwhelmed. So why do that to yourself?
Absolutely.
Manage the content that you're taking in. It's so easy to toggle between the different profiles in your accounts. Is all
Mhm.
you do is you go right to your um you go right to your uh um you go right to your personal profile, and you just hit this little button right up here up top, this little where it says your name right
Mhm.
on your profile. You just hit that there's a little drop down button that pops up, and all your different accounts will pop up right there, and you can toggle between them. And
Yeah.
it's such a great way to manage what you're taking in and start being in control of what you
Oh,
let
yeah.
into your ears and eyes.
You gotta self-regulate, right? You have
Yeah,
to. And no one's gonna do it for you. You need to learn how to do it for yourself. And it's interesting that you say that because having just moved to the West Coast about a month ago. So backstage I was talking to Jalen, and we were talking about, like, I had just, when you had interviewed me last, I was living on the East Coast, and I've since moved to the West Coast, and it's such a different way of life, but I'm also in a new area. So what do? I hop on my Instagram and I go to my personal account, and I toggle to my personal account so I can check out certain places in this area that I'm curious about. And I'm not doing that on my business account, but I am saying, like, hey, I want to understand in my town, in my city where I live, what's going on. So I'm going to toggle. So you have to do that. And what I find from that too is that when I separate those two things, it allows me to say, okay, this is work, meaning like this is for my business. And then this is for pleasure, or this is
totally.
life. And it allows me to separate, because what I find is when you don't have a job to clock in 9 to 5, it can become a 24/7, right?
Totally.
So
Totally.
it's just a way to be able to create boundaries around what content you're consuming. And it's interesting because, like, you talk about doom scroll. Geez, you can doom scroll, other accounts, and that can become your entire day,
Totally.
because you're trying to find that inspiration and that and that, like, what is that one thing I'm missing to make my content, blow up or go viral? And it's like, actually, no, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
So just stop and get back to, like, what is most important here. And it's actually putting out the information and the value that people want to see, that's coming from you because they're following you. So yeah, I do that all the time. And it's a good way to be able to separate things. You got to figure out what works for you. And um, that is something that definitely works for me too.
So what's been give us a tip. What's been something that you've done with your marketing that has made a big difference for you that you didn't know in the first leg of your business, but you figured out, say, since our last Wake Up Legendary, that if you knew earlier on, you may have been a step ahead. What's something that somebody could use based on your experience in their marketing, in their content?
Yeah, I really believe that this is a this is a long game. This is something that, if you are really interested in the digital space and starting on this journey, it is truly about how are you building something sustainable and long term, that is rooted in what you're passionate about. Like I
Mm,
said before, I came into this and I was like, wealth niche, I got this. I'm going to do this. And then I was like, actually, I'm in this for the wrong reasons. And what are my strengths and what are the things that I'm passionate about? Yes, my background's in sales and marketing. And that was in, like, the traditional sense as well, and the retail sense. So what can I do? And what do I find that really lights me up? It's helping people, it's being nurturing, it's supporting them. And, like, that is where I realized I need to pivot my business and I need to pivot what I'm doing. So it's like, how am I rooted in what it is that I'm passionate about, and allowing that to be what I share with others. So I've been able to build a social media presence based on what I know and what I've learned. So that's where, can I help others to do that and monetize that? Absolutely. So it's not necessarily about, just being in the wealth niche. It's like, how am I taking the things that I'm passionate about and using that to put wind behind my sails to push me forward? And when I say behind my sails, I mean, like, metaphor as a boat, not necessarily sales as money. But that is the thing that don't be afraid to come into this thinking that it is just one specific niche that you have to, you were attracted to, and that is it. Give yourself the permission to be open to learning and figuring out what are you really passionate about. And that takes time. Like that, I'm 7 months into this, and I think I came to that realization like 2 months ago. So, I mean, it took me a lot of learning and truly refining to realize that you might not start this journey and end up in the same place that you intended to. And
Yeah.
what I also think a good metaphor for that is like, and I know we talk about going to college, and when you're 18 you don't know much and they tell you you need to pick a major. Well, let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, people are not using the same degree that they got or the major that they had for the work that they're doing today. So it's a very similar thing. You have to be really, really patient with yourself and figure out what you're most passionate about and let that be what guides you. And for me, it's coaching people in the digital marketing space as to how to create an online presence and how to grow their following.
Yeah, and the thing that's coming up for me when you say that powerful share right there for everybody just listening, that was a major key. And what came up for me is you could be talking about the same exact topic, but deliver it in your own way. When you said the nurturing part of your personality and those specific characteristics about you, that is the brand. That is the brand. It's like, look, there's all kinds of different waters out there. Why do I choose Mountain Valley? Because it tastes a specific way. It tantalizes specific senses of mine. The same thing is true with people. There is something that you like about that person. She reminds you of your grandma. She reminds you of your mom. She's the opposite of your mom. Whatever it is, right? She's really nurturing and patient, and it's relaxing to listen to her. That could be enough. There's no formula. People operate off of feelings. They don't say, well, I computed that this person is an alignment with my personality, and we're not robots.
Right. Absolutely.
We somebody is going to love your passion or your rawness or your nurturingness or your soft spokenness, or how you just sit around and yell every time you talk. I mean, whatever your personality is, you want to sprinkle on steroids to it. You want to try to, I almost say, exaggerate those elements of your personality 10 to 20%. If that's part of your personality, exaggerate it a little bit. Really, if you're nurturing, be 10 to 20 to 30% more nurturing than you normally are in real life, because you're also getting past that screen barrier.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm throwing, son of a God, Jesus. I don't do that a lot in real life. I mean, I'm not saying I'll never throw a damn hat, because I like to get loud and rowdy and laugh and all this kind of stuff. But, I'm not just sitting there talking one-on-one with somebody in an intimate setting, and all of a sudden I just start throwing my hat. It's I gotta put a little bit more oomph for the show, right? And all people do that. They just don't tell you that. This is just a marketing class. So I'm the instructor, I'm the teacher, the professor at the front of the room who's teaching about what I'm doing as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's the difference between this show and other shows is they're using all the marketing secrets, but they're not explaining them to you as they're doing the show.
Mhm.
I'm trying to explain them to you all so you can use them in your marketing and understand that this is not Maybelline. He wasn't born with it. She wasn't born with it. This is
Right.
there's an element of you gotta get camera ready. And what does that mean for you? It means that you snap into, okay, lights, camera, action. It doesn't mean that you're putting on an act and that you're lying or being fraudulent. It means that you are, I mean, is what's a product that you love? McDonald's. Do you think Ronald McDonald, the clown, is a real person who lives a real life? No. I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the movie that you watched last night, do you think that's real life? No. We are living in a world where it's called marketing. It's just called marketing. It's hard to explain this, but it's so easy, right? Once you get it, that and people get caught up on all kinds of things. I got to tell my story, this and that. Look, you don't need to tell your story. You need to learn how to get good at telling story, whatever is appropriate for that moment. It doesn't even have to be about you.
Right.
The only reason why you weave in parts of your story is to help people to connect with you better, right? So you reveal parts of yourself that are appropriate for whatever the piece of content is. But the internet is not a diary for you. I mean, I see people coming in and thinking their first video has to be this autobiography of their life and explain to everybody on the internet why you're doing it. You don't owe anybody an explanation for shit.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain anything. You just get out there and start creating content, come on the scene with your character and rock and roll. I mean, it's almost like I'd love to just wave a magic wand and give you all, look, I've got one here. Call me Harry Potter. It's a pen, but I'm saying you have permission to go be a marketing badass. Now just go do it and stop getting in your own way.
Yeah. It's less talking about it and more doing it. It's really, and the persona part that you talk about is the same reason. The level of energy that I have during this conversation is a very different level of energy that I will have when I go for a walk with a friend, or I am talking to somebody, one-on-one and telling them about how my day was. It's just because it's who you are showing up in that moment to be able to have your energy almost connect with others and to be able to really engage. It's the engagement piece. It's like,
yeah,
if you, and what I think about this a lot when I'm creating content is, am I having fun doing it? Because if I'm not having fun doing it, it's going to look like shit. It's going to be horrible. It's not going to work. And it's going to be garbage. Like, it's just a waste of my time. So I need to be having fun, because that's what comes through my videos. That's what comes through my content.
That's right.
To show the real me. And I mean, I don't know about you, Dave, but like, after this is over, I'm probably going to need some time to myself to kind of just decompress, and not in a bad way. It's like you have to be able to give back to yourself, whatever it is you need to get back to, your regular way of being after you do something such as, an interview on a Facebook Live. Like, it takes, I'm a different person right now.
Draining.
Yeah.
It's draining. Yeah. You're going to feel drained. You're going to feel exhausted. I absolutely need my decompression time after Wake Up Legendary every morning. My whole team knows to leave me alone for a little while. Just so happens that I do have a call this morning at 11:15. So we're going to bring this in for a landing so I can actually have my decompression time before that. I mean, it's a very, you're speaking my language here, and you're speaking the language of being human. And so, my friends, it's okay to be human. You got this. You can do this as a human being. You don't need to be superhumans eating foods all day long. You can be a normal person, and once you turn the camera off, you're off camera, right? You can go into your trailer, you do whatever you do in your trailer, lay down, take a shower, take a nap, go to the bathroom, have whatever it is, right? It's just,
Have
but
a
then when you come back on and you sit in front of your computer and you're writing an email to your list or you're recording a video, you turn it back on, baby. It's game time.
Yep.
It's game time. And that's your work, and you pour all your energy and your love and your nurturingness and your personality into that, and then you go back and, hey, you turn it off, right? And you go and you spend time with your family or doing what you love. And that's the beauty of this business, is that I don't have to drive into an office to do that. I can do that right from my home if I have those boundaries that you were talking about earlier, of turning it on and turning it off,
Right.
and managing my energy that way. And you're clearly somebody you can tell when somebody's got the experience, because they're talking the language. So good for you, Jen. I'm so thrilled
Thanks.
to have caught up with you. Can't wait to talk to you again in the very near future, if you'll keep coming back. Stay legendary, my friend. Keep up the awesome work.
Thanks again.
All right.
Thanks,
We'll talk to you
everyone.
later. Okay. See ya.
See ya.
All right, my friends, you can find Jen Jacobs over at Jen Recommends It. Jen Recommends It. And recommends has an S on the end. Jen Recommends It. Listen, my friends, I've been talking about an opportunity for you all to get a free coaching call throughout the week. I've interviewed our accountability mentors. Some of you just need that additional accountability, kick in the butt, whatever you want to call it. I will hook you up with a free accountability coaching call where you will get most likely more value on this one free call than probably damn near anything that you've done all year, in terms of just, especially anything free, but likely even things that you've paid for. You can email me personally at dave@legendarymarketer.com, and I'll CC in one of our accountability coaches for you to have a free session. Again, I interviewed some of them previously in the last week or so, Eric and Bonnie. Email me at dave@legendarymarketer.com if you want to have a free accountability coaching session and discuss our accountability coaching program. It's a 6-month program, and we will hold your butt accountable to implement the things that you need to implement and do the things that you need to do. We want you to use our training, and we will hold you accountable to first developing the skills in launching and leading, sticking to the game plan, and following through. And at the end of the 6-month period, you will be a different person, of way more breakthroughs and hopefully lots more results. If you want to just get an appetizer of what that would be like, so you can make a decision for yourself if you've had a hard time getting launched or following through or staying accountable, you need that personal trainer to make sure that you show up at the gym. Give me an email. You just put accountability call or free coaching call in the subject line. Shoot me an email at dave@legendarymarketer.com. My friends, if you want to get a messenger reminder in the mornings on Facebook Messenger, you can go ahead. I'm going to put a comment in our comments. You can click that link, and you can get a little notification when we go live on Facebook Messenger at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Get a little notification in your, Messenger. I'll put that link in there twice, in your little Facebook Messenger inbox, with a link to just head right over. We're not using the text message software because Facebook came out with a free solution that allows us to be able to do this for free. And so, just FYI, we're using the things that we teach here. We were paying we were paying $10,000 to $15,000 a month for text messaging software, and now we're running all of that for free using this text message So, using this messenger, this application, Facebook Messenger application, to be able to send notifications. So go and subscribe to that list, see how we do it, and use it for yourself in your own business. I want to thank Jen one more time. Excellent show. She always brings the heat. You can find her over at on Instagram at Jen Recommends It. And yeah, let's continue to rock. Have a great weekend, my friends. Joanne will be with you next week. Throughout the week, I will be on vacation. And my friends, stay legendary. Keep up the absolutely phenomenal work. Okay. Use the resources here within the community. I just laid out quite a few of them just right here on the show, here at the end. Use the resources that are at your fingertips. Okay. Use them. Use every single resource that you have here in order to help yourself to be successful. It's not about the resources. It's also about your resourcefulness. You got to use them. All right, my friends, be legendary. Thanks again, Jen, for an awesome show. We'll see you all on Monday. Get out of here. Have a great weekend. Peace.